Morning, Paul. Welcome back to the Knoll. It's been a long time since you were here as a young student coming from Swansea University. What was your first impression when you came to Neath Rfc?
Ron, I remember taking me into the dress room, and there was a big melee of all the faces I sort of recognised from TV and stuff. Ron asked everybody for their attention, and he said, "Guys, I'd like you to meet Paul Thorburn. He's just come from public school. I'm sure you'll give him a good welcome." And you can imagine that went down like an absolute lead balloon. But no, it was pretty daunting, I have to say. Arriving at Neath at the time, they were just starting to gather a bit of momentum. I remember playing in a Bath 7-a-side tournament for a local Bath club the summer of the pre-season training of the season I joined Neath, and I think Neath had lost to Bath away by about 70 points. Few Bath sort of players, ribbing me to say, "Oh well, perhaps not a very good selection of yours to join a club like Neath." And then, of course, it was only a matter of time before they had to eat their words, because we took their ground record a few years later in what was possibly one of the most electrifying games of rugby I've ever played in.
You had a long, distinguished career at the Knoll over 10 years. Any memories really stick out for you?
The game that really stood out for me, and I guess emphasised the commitment that you had from the Neath players, was my first game here for Neath. When we played Cardiff, and that stands out for many reasons, because Cardiff was a team that was packed with not only Welsh internationals but British Lions. Neath, our only international player was Elgin Rees, and I remember running out into the Knoll. It was absolutely packed to the rafters. It was a very close game. I remember we'd had a few injuries, so we'd used our two replacements who'd come on, and then Alan Hopkins, probably with about 15 minutes of the game remaining, he dislocated his shoulder, and he was walking off the field or in agony holding his shoulder. And I remember Brian Thomas standing up in the stand and shouting out, "Oi, Alan, get back on the field." So Alan, with his dislocated shoulder, ended up standing on the wing. I think we were losing the game at the time anyway. We were attacking this end up here, and the ball came along the line. I remember handing off, I think it was Gerald Caudle, and then slipping the ball to Alan, how he caught it with one arm, I don't know, but he sprinted and dived in the corner with a dislocated shoulder, and that to me just sort of epitomised what Neath was all about, and the die-hard commitment of the players. To play the All Blacks, I remember the start of that season. That's the only thing Ron was focused on, really, was we're playing them, and the whole training, everything we did leading up to that was about playing against the All Blacks and them coming to the Knoll, and just the whole build-up was phenomenal. Neath was buzzing as a town, wasn't it? A few weeks in advance of that, everybody, that's what their focus was, and it was a day that will be remembered forever. We didn't win, unfortunately, but I think they knew they'd been in a game of rugby, and great memories. Brian was really the sort of the focal point for making sure that the team ticked, and he was a man mountain in many ways, not only in terms of his stature but in terms of the respect that he had and the ability to really galvanise players and make things happen. It's unfortunate in many respects, although from a Neath perspective it's good, but really Welsh rugby should have utilised his knowledge and skills far more than they did. Playing for Neath really gave the success on the field that we didn't have with Wales. All right, we won the Triple Crown, we did okay in the World Cup in '87, but other than that, there were some pretty tough times. So playing for Neath obviously, meant that it wasn't doom and gloom every week. We had some great success here, winning the leagues, winning the first Heineken Cup League was a magic season. Winning 2 cup finals during my time was phenomenal, particularly with world record crowds at the time. Disappointment losing to the Llanelli in the first one, but hey, we managed to redeem ourselves the following year and then beat Bridgend. So those were magic moments, and I think it's fair to say I probably played during a period of rugby at Neath that will go down as one of the greatest in terms of success on and off the field, because it galvanised the whole town, didn't it? And I think Neath is a club that's known around the world, possibly in South Africa even, maybe for the wrong reasons, but the Battle of the Knoll I think stood out for many. Neath will be remembered for having a team of uncompromising forwards. If there was ever a war, I'd want to be involved with those guys in front of me. They were awesome.
Thank you very much, Paul. Is there any final message you'd like to give to the Neath supporters?
For those who were around when I was playing, I'm very grateful for all the support you gave me and the friendship for the family as well. And great that you've kept the momentum going with the club. It's sad in many respects that Welsh rugby is structured as it is now, and that Neath doesn't have the prominence that it used to have. But we're still very much a part of the furniture, and long may that continue. And have a great night tonight.